So I might not know who you are, but I already know two things about you. One is that you are a top tier kind of person, because two, you've got a good taste in football clubs, because you support the mighty men in black, of course. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane. If it is your first time tuning in, thank you for tuning in. I'm on here reviewing matches, previewing them, talking about everything in and around the football club. So if that's your sort of thing, please do consider subscribing. Just to get videos when I send them out. And thank you for everyone that's already subscribed. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't. And I love when you guys engage in the comment section. Yeah, it's always great to learn from you guys. I know a lot of you guys know your football, you know your stuff. I always learn a thing or two from the comment section, even on Instagram. Anyway, so getting into this video, excited to do this one. I love this sort of thing. So kind of exposing myself. This is my favorite kind of thing to do, to discuss and dissect things that are going on in the club, decisions that are getting made, things like that. I love that sort of thing. You will have seen the title already. So this morning I read an article. Unfortunately, it's a paid one, so I can't really show it. I would show some of the title, the headline, and some of the things that I read in that article. It's by Sokala Duma. And what they spoke about is that Orlando Pirates is, as you will have seen from the title, considering to extend the contract of Thabang Monare again. So I say again because I think this is the second time or third time now that they will be extending it upon its expiry. And I mean, already that says a lot about him. I did a video on Thabang Monare recently. Well, not a video on Thabang Monare, but I did a video on, the top 10 signings, top 10 recent signings that Orlando Pirates have made. And check that out to see where I rank Monare in comparison to all the other Pirates midfielders. So spoiler alert, I really rate him. And what I want to do today is I want to speak about whether or not it's a good decision to extend his contract. And quickly, I want to pull up a statistics. I beg your pardon, I'm struggling to talk. I want to pull up a statistics for you guys to see. And this is just, how many minutes each player has played in the Orlando Pirates team. And I think what I learned from this, what I'm about to show you, is where the coach or what the coach thinks of Monare. I mean, there could be a lot of factors that play into this. Like, for example, some players have been injured. Maybe some players are still getting integrated into the team. But I think it's already telling, looking at the amount of minutes that some players have played and things like that, to see what the coach kind of thinks about these players and where he ranks them in terms of hierarchy and importance for him. And yeah, so looking at, this document here, which is the number of minutes that these players have played. So far, obviously, we've played 8 matches, and I've kind of sorted it in terms of the minute percentages compared to the possible number of minutes that have been available for every player to play and how many minutes every player has played so far. So, I mean, looking at that, Sipho Shahina obviously leads that number, and it's no surprise. An unchanged goalkeeper will always play 90 minutes, and so he's a bit of an anomaly. But the names top 5 and especially top 10 is what I want to look at, but mostly I want to look at where Thabang Monare sits in that list. And he sits 5th, just under Ndabayithetwa Ndlondlo, having played 79% of the minutes so far. And above him, only Ndlondlo, Monapule Saling, and Zakhele Lepasa, who have played more minutes in terms of outfield players. And I think already you can see how important Monare is to the coach and how key he has been. I mean, I'm looking at people like Makeshen Makaula, who played the 4 games, the first 4 games of the season, and has since disappeared. And I'm comparing it with Makeshen Makaula because he's someone of similar age and things like that. But you can see that Monare, and looking at the first 10 players, going up to Thabiso Munyani, who's the 10th player there, in that list of all these players that have played more than 50% of the minutes this season, Thabang Monare is the only one that's above the 30 years old. Sipho Shaina, I think he's 27, if not 26. Zakhele Lepasa is 26 this year. Munapule Saleng is 25. Ndabaiteto Ndlondlo is 28 this year. Thabang Monare is 34 this year. Patrick Maswanganye, another one who's 25. Kosnathi Sibisi and Thapelo Xoki are both 28 this year. Paseka Mako is 29. Relebohile Mofokeng obviously is 18, turning 19, our jam. And Thabiso Munyani is 23 this year. And just already, Monare sticks out as the only player who is above that 30 and is somewhere in his mid-30s right now. But as your eyes would tell you, as your eyes will have seen already, he's so key, he's so fit. You couldn't tell that he's someone who's, in his 30s, in his mid-30s. And so what I want to talk about is, do I think it's a good idea to extend, the contract of Monare going into next season, seeing that we've been extending him and is going to be a year older next season? Well, I mean, looking at the options that we have in midfield currently already, so we've got Monare, who's 34. We've got Ndabaiteto Ndlondlo, who's 28. And then we've got Makhehleni Makaula, who's another one who's 34, going to be 35 at the start of next season. We've got Ben Motswari, the long-forgotten Ben Motswari, who's 33 this year. And then we've got Siphello Baloni, I think he's 24 this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think Siphello Baloni is 24 this year. And then we've got Goodman Mosele, who's out on loan. I mean, looking at those options, it seems like Orlando Pirates wants to have 2 players in that pivot position. I beg your pardon, they want to have 6 players for those 2 positions in that double pivot, which is the favored formation of the coach. So currently we've got 6 of them. Goodman Mosele is obviously out on loan, so we've got 6 of them, provided you consider Fortune Makaringe and Patrick Maswanganye as number 10s who play further up the field. We've got 6 of them that play in that position. And of that 6, Ndabaiteto Ndlondlo is the only one, apart from Siphello Baloni, who is under 30 years old. Siphello Baloni is someone who hasn't played, so it's hard for me to kind of give my perspective or my take for him currently until after we've seen him play for Orlando Pirates. I mean, I've seen some few minutes of him for All Stars and he looks great. He looked brave, definitely, against us. He looked like someone who was playing for a move in hindsight when I've watched that game. But he looked great in that. But I can't make, I can't give a take on him until I've seen him. But I've seen the other ones. Very well documented what Ben Motswari can do for us. Very well documented what Makhehleni Makaula, Miguel Tim, the other one that I forgot, who's I think 30 this year or 31. So those are the 6 players that we've got. I think going into next season, if it were up to me, I think Orlando Pirates actually, I think, will not be thinking about renewing Ben Motswari, whose contract they already renewed this year. Why that is, I have no idea, except that I think it's just to have cover for that position. So obviously 6 is the number that they think is safe to have for those 2 positions in the double pivot. So I think Ben Motswari is going to be one that's going to be released. So if you think of Goodman Mosele as the one that's going to come back in to that Orlando Pirates team and take the space of Ben Motswari, whom I think Mosele might be concerned to hear that, if that's the plan, if that's what is articulated to him, if that's the proposal, that come back on loan because Motswari is going to be leaving, that's going to be concerning because Motswari is not getting any minutes at all. So Mosele coming back would have to be to overtake some minutes from someone. The way that I think of it is, if you look at the minutes that Makhehleni Makaula has played, I think Monare will have to shave off some minutes next season, which are going to be overtaken maybe by Baloni or Mosele. So my kind of thing is, I think we should definitely keep Monare in that midfield. I think to have an experienced head of Monare alongside Tim, who's also going to be a year older, I am not one who thinks we should be going into the future with Tim and Monare. Although they are great, I see them as current players that are helping us right now. They're obviously not going to develop any further. Except experience-wise, obviously they get more experienced with age, and Monare is one who seems like he's just aging like fine wine. However, at some point his legs are going to go. When that is, we don't know. It could be by, January, this coming January. It could be that he's got 2 more seasons, maybe even 3. But it is not safe to bank on these players. So my kind of thing is, I think if we go into next season with Tim and Monare, those are very safe bets. I love Makehleni Makaula. I think he does a great job in that midfield as someone who screens and wins balls back, and he keeps it simple with, unleashing someone like Ndlondlo to be more creative. And then Makehleni is almost the one that cleans up and protects that back line for us. However, I think it's not safe to be going into another season where Monare and Makehleni and Motshwari and Tim are going to be a year older and they're already in their 30s. So I think we should be starting to plan for 5 years. So Ndlondlo obviously to me sticks out in that midfield as the one who's going to be the mainstay in that midfield for some years to come, because he's very well established in terms of age and performances and things like that. Whereas with Mosele and Baloni, who are also under 30, you've still got a few question marks around them. You don't know what we're going to get from them going forward. They might have the potential, but it's going to be important that the person that takes over, maybe Tim becomes that full-time partner for Ndlondlo, at least for next season, and then Monare starts to make appearances here and there. And then you've got Baloni and, Mosele almost deputizing, and then obviously we'd need to make a signing in midfield to replace Makehleni Makaula if we do replace him. If we see Mosele as coming in to take the space of Ben Motshwari, then someone needs to come in to have that number of 6 in that midfield, 6 bodies in that midfield. So we'd have to sign someone, and I would think it would have to be someone who's between 20 and 25, or maybe someone who can come in and instantly, challenge Tim for the minutes to play alongside Ndlondlo. So it's going to be fascinating to see what Orlando Pirates does. Maybe we might hear about it eventually at some point. Obviously, it's a rumor right now. According to the article that I read, it's nothing that's confirmed. But if it were up to me, I think we're keeping Monare. He's a key player for us. It seems like the coach sees him as that. I think what I love about him is he doesn't seem like he's losing his legs yet. He's just one of those players that can go very well into their 30s, and to keep someone like that in our squad would be fantastic experience-wise and just quality-wise. So I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Do you disagree with what I'm saying? Do you think we should be keeping someone like Makaula in the team for more years to come? I'm not sure when Makaula's contract expires. I know that Motshwari's contract expires. That's why I think it's going to be hard to see Pirates, extending his contract again, seeing that he's not playing at all, which is why it was surprising last season when they did. But I think it was, maybe they had a plan that they're going to loan out Mosele, and so maybe they want to keep Ben around just to have bodies, in that double pivot in case anything happens and someone gets injured. But what do you guys think? Who do you think we should be keeping? Do you think there's anyone out there we should be signing to come into our midfield? Do you think we should be releasing Monare and start to think about the future? Do you think maybe we should get 1 more year? I'm interested to hear what you guys think. But for now, this is where I leave it. Up the Mighty Bucks. Cheers. I know you're craving some more of Talking Buccaneers content. Well, I have great news for you. If you hit that subscribe button right now, you'll stay up to date with all our future content.